Well, welcome everyone to today's episode of the Bold Vision podcast, where we spotlight leaders in the construction industry and we specialize in helping small businesses scale their revenue. If you want to learn more or learn how to take your business to the next level, be sure to stick around and drop comments below. You can follow us on YouTube and Spotify, or feel free to subscribe to our channel. I'm your host. My name is Sonya Sanchez, and today we have the pleasure of speaking with Chris Orendorff. He's the owner of Creative Works. Chris is the driving force behind Creative Works. It's a company with deep roots in specialty design, remodeling, and custom home solutions. He brings artistic craftsmanship to homeowners and commercial properties across Virginia. So today I just want to give Chris a warm welcome. And hello, Chris. How are you doing today?
You.
Yeah, well, I'm great. We're really, really glad to have you on the show. And so we're just going to dive right in, and we're just going to, find out a little bit about your story. I want to know, I want to start from the very, very beginning. Let's go way back and tell us, what inspired you or inspired the whole creation of your business, and, what's your background and how did you get started?
Yes, and it's funny. I really thought about this till lately about how I even got where I'm at today. But it was really kind of by accident. I was in telecommunications. That was my career. I worked for the phone company for a good amount of years, and a big company. And I got wooed into a startup in fiber optics. I had certifications and was in computers and telephony and all that. And the market in early 2000s really was not going well. MCI WorldCom and some of these other large companies were struggling, and our startup company did not make it. And so I found myself, at home trying to figure out what the next step was going to be. And my wife, she said, well, you build cabinets and custom cabinetry for our family and friends. Have you thought about doing that as a business? We had two young kids at home at the time,
Right.
and I just I said, okay. Didn't really know a whole bunch about. I really was drawn to doing custom cabinetry. I thought I was pretty good at it at the time, and it's something that I could have fun doing. And at the
Okay.
same time, supporting our family, two little ones. So I made the
Right.
big from corporate America to small business owner and started building cabinetry from scratch. Custom bars, built-ins, bookcases, anything that someone needed to have built through our friends network that started the whole thing. And then word got out, and was constantly busy and grew the business over from 2000, grew it to a good size in '07 and '08. And things started to the industry did change at that time. There was the big housing crisis thing and all that. We all got caught up in that. We all held on to a lot of employees and a lot of resources and things that was a huge struggle for a lot. There was a lot of woodworking, millwork companies that were in the same boat. We were all in the same boat, having a hard time. And I started doing other
Mm-hmm.
things, started doing remodeling, started doing other things to help keep the business going. And ultimately, through 2012, that's really what I did. And I started incorporating audio video integration. It's a technology and industry that's very similar to telecom. And so I would enhance what I could build and brought in a little bit of technology with doing motorized lifts and audio video type of pre-wire for our built-ins that we would do. And that's actually what got us through that tough period for everybody, and
So is this
continue.
like theater? I don't mean to interrupt you, but is this like theater rooms? Is this
It's
like theater rooms that you're building,
it's
with screens and that type of thing?
Yeah, great question. It's it was theaters. It was, projectors, getting doing the acoustics within the room as far as determining what the your sound resolution, video image calculations and stuff like that as far as what gets laid out in the room. And and also not only that, but built-ins with custom lifts and wet bars with two-way mirrors. If when you're not having a TV on, it looks like just a nice on the back wall, a nice mirror. And we would use a two-way mirror to help with create that integrate, that video, that experience of visual experience, and just continue to enhance, our craft. I'm a lefty, so I tend to draw things right my of course. I tend to draw things out of my head. I can kind of see how I like to proportion things, and I interactive with our clients and just kind of learn through that whole process during that time, and on um, how to find different creative ways to meet a client's budget and needs to the best that we could. Budget has always been a forefront of trying to get the most that we can and provide a great product and solution for our clients. And then
Right.
just and so yeah, and just throughout, just been doing it. We, as to today, we're still, we've got a great little small little core team that we work with, that works has worked for me for a long time, and we still do those projects where we're expanded to other things, and we've done some like commercial work, we've done expanding our business from that perspective, but we provide a product that's anything from something small to a large project, whether it's a full remodel with custom elements within it. And that's,
Okay.
yeah. So
So you're really well rounded as far as what you can do. So I bet you're not building custom cabinets anymore. Do you have someone that's doing that, or do you actually still work with your hands?
no, I still work with my hands.
You
I don't,
do. So you're still hands on, huh?
I am on the finished product. I'm hands on when it comes to meeting with our clients, coming up with creative solutions, putting together um, renderings, getting the concepts down on paper, sharing them
Hmm.
with them, and incorporating their ideas that I have, and then tying it all together, and just seeing it through. And then I usually come in at the end and throughout the whole process, but I'm definitely there at the end where I'm doing my fine little detail and making sure everything is just right.
Right. So as the owner, I mean, why don't you just go through like a typical day? A typical work day for you looks kind of like what?
We we usually doing our site visits for in the mornings. We're doing our site visits with our client, with our installation teams, and making sure that they have what they need. We're making sure from an operational perspective, we're making sure that everything's in place. We've updated the client for the day, and making sure that there's anything that we need to know about what they're doing, how it impacts what we're doing, and vice versa. And then I do that throughout the day. Um, Making sure that the teams are productive and making sure they have what they need. We do sales, pre-sales, to get a chance to meet and greet new clients in meetings or in social events. Then towards the end of the day, I go around and check everything. I just follow up with our clients at the end of the day and making sure everything is on schedule. And then we go through a weekly process. We go through our project plan with our clients, making sure that what the status is of what we've completed for the week and what's going to be coming for the following week. That way they can plan accordingly for their home. If it's residential, kind of what the scope is, and any changes or any surprises. Sometimes it can happen through remodels. And then with commercial is the same. Just having those briefs and those minutes with our contact with our commercial project, whether it's project manager liaison for that project that we're working on. And that's
Yeah,
pretty much
exactly. So
it.
I was going to go into you like your team. I was going to go to your team structure, because I'm sure, I don't know how many employees do you have?
We have a finisher that does all our finish work in the shop. We've got two teams out in the field that are regularly every day busy with our
Right.
in or doing our, if we're doing a remodel and various things, they're doing all that part of it. And then we've got a great relationship and a whole great group team of all our trades, electricians and plumbers and framers and drywall paint crews, and that do all the trade specific tasks. And then we have our finish team that go through, and we kind of come in after them, and we actually get everything installed: the cabinets, the trim, the electronics, low voltage wiring, installation of equipment, that sort of thing, as we kind of bring everything together, and get everything to the point where it's
Now,
close to being finished.
how do you handle like the estimating part of it and the design and the project management, across, depending on the client, depending on the project. The more complex the project, more pickier the client, they may require more in depth. So how do you handle that?
We use House Pro. It's our project management software
Okay.
that we use that for tracking expenses. We are looking to um, get that tied in with our QuickBooks when we're doing invoicing or credits or any kind of changes to a project from a budgetary perspective, just tracking materials, manpower. So that's a platform that we've actually initiated a year and a half ago, and it's been very, very helpful and very streamlined. Clients like it a lot. They like the notifications that, and we're not utilizing everything in House Pro. There's so many things now that in the last year that they've added to that platform that we're looking to learn more about and incorporate in the business side of the projects. But we use
Yeah,
that product. We use a just a Microsoft project for our project planning at this point, and we're looking to do more with House Pro and go into that type of a platform instead. But we like it a lot. It's very easy to follow. It'll send notifications to our clients, to our subcontractors. Been very happy with it.
that's good. That's one I don't think I've heard of that one. A real popular one is Builder Trend. I know a lot of contractors use that. And then, when I was in construction on really huge projects, of course, we use Procore. But that's big for big commercial projects. But yeah, I haven't heard of Home Pro, but yeah, every contractor needs a CRM, and you'd be surprised at some of these people that I have talked to that have winged it for years and don't have anything in place. And I think, just construction in general. I mean, we come from a background of old school, and we're not used to having to deal with technology and email, text messages, now with AI, automations, I mean, even some companies are so busy, they have AI calling and, answering the calls and scheduling the appointments. So things have really, really changed over the years.
It's something that we have not delved into is AI, and that's something that we're going to be exploring to try and help us with some of the estimating as far as getting the formats. Pricing changes so often, especially right now. Streamline some of it would help with time management on my part. Uh, but yeah, it's that automating some of your processes can definitely help with time management, and that's one of the areas that I'm going to be probably looking at in the next year, how we can incorporate some of that technology into our tracking and our estimating and communication with our clients. But House Pro, like I said, has been a really interesting tool. It's new. It's been out on the marketplace, I believe, in the last 3 years. So we like it so far. But yeah, I agree
That's
with
great.
you.
Well, that's good to
Spread,
know.
I use spreadsheets for the longest time, Excel spreadsheets for everything. I admit it. I mean, up until like 3 years ago, and that was what I was relying on.
Uh-huh.
Microsoft product. I still kind of do on our proposals. We use Word just because I like to personalize our proposals, our estimating, and I spend a lot of time on that so that it's really custom to because every situation is not always the same. Not every kitchen, not every bathroom, not every
Right.
basement, not custom built in is the same. It has different aspects of it. It has different requirements. And so those are identify what they are and spelling them out from the get go. I'm very transparent when it comes to. I try to itemize what I can with our clients so they can make business decisions. Our financial decisions on what they may want to hold back on. Maybe they like to break the project in a couple different phases and those sort of things. So I'm very conscious about budget. I'm very conscientious about being transparent as much as I can with that. And explaining it and walking them through the processes, how we get to where we're at and so they can make those decisions for themselves.
Right. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the projects? We'll talk about your residential projects and commercial, and tell me something that you're the most proud of.
Well, one of the things I try to do, it goes back to us saying about really listening, listening, listening. And I think that's something that I hear complaints from clients that say, yes, so and so showed up, and all they could say was, tell us what you want, or tell us what you're looking for, and then we'll just do it. There's no creativity, there's no collaboration, there's no leveraging experience and sharing that with your client, because you only know what and you can only visualize what you can visualize. So, um,
Right.
listen, so important. And I really try to do that every time I meet with a client. It's just listen, observe before I interject. And I want to make sure I understand where they're coming from. I want to understand how they live in their life, how they plan on using their space. What is that space going to mean 5 years from now? How can get the biggest return on investment? The aspects of the house, what does that house demand? I mean, what level of detail and product does that house demand? But a $2-3 million home, then there's certain things you need to do. There's certain things that you have to that versus a smaller home. Maybe it's a townhouse, or maybe it's a or just a smaller square footage home that just doesn't the return on investment may not be there. Now we'll do whatever if if the client really would like what they are looking for, but I try to share that with them a little bit after I've gotten some information, and try to listen, and kind of put together some good, better, best kind of some options that they can consider, so that when it's all said and done and we've completed the project, they know that they've gone through the whole process of thinking through how they're going to use the space, um, that's within their budget, and so they'll be happy with it for years to come. I mean, that's the ultimate, really, is that they're going to not only we want to do a good job for them, we want them to enjoy it. We want them to enjoy that new space, and whatever it is, and so that they will hopefully think of us next time. So, but
Right.
that's really important to me. So, and I really try to identify what those things are so we can have those experiences.
Right. So let me ask you a question as far as, getting new clients. What is your strategy, or what has been your marketing strategy since the very beginning? And has that changed over the years?
Yeah, it's word of mouth, plain and simple. I wanted the work to speak for itself. I want
Okay.
that. Be I'm not your typical type. I'm not your type A. I'm not just in your face or anything. I'm down in the details. I'm very focused on the little things. And I really like the work to speak for itself. And that was always my concept from the very beginning, that if I did the best I could and did quality work, that in itself would hopefully attract more clients. And I've been blessed to have a great over the years of 20 plus years now, and having some great clients who are very loyal, and have given us the opportunity to do projects for them. And that has drives a lot of business right now. Um, we are part of BNI, which is a worldwide networking chapters across the whole world. And we've been part of that
Right.
group for years. And that's a weekly getting chance to meet new people, meet with our core members. That's what we've found the most success, and the ability to reach new people. We've tried direct
Hmm.
marketing in the past, and people don't really know you as well. So we haven't relied as much on that as just doing a good job and doing right by our clients, and the best that we can, and to provide a great product. And that's what we strive for.
Right. But over the 20 years, I mean, because technology is changing so drastically, and it's really good that you have a base of, solid customers. But do you see, or are you worried at all about that changing just a little bit? I mean, now with, everybody just searches everything on Google. I mean, it's great that you have those referrals and you have those clients. But did you ever think that maybe you're missing out on a whole lot more business? Because when people are searching on their phone, if were showing up in that map, or if you were being found for keywords, I mean, if you had that type of presence, that would impact you in a positive way. And the reason I asked that is because I did a little research on you, because I always look into the people that are on my podcast. I want to know where they are, what they do. I want to know more about them before I speak to them. And I was like, wow, this is going to be an interesting conversation because there wasn't much presence. I mean, I couldn't easily find you, but I had your business card from, an event where we met. And so I was able to go find your website. But other than that, besides just remodeling, and I think that are located like in Ashburn area, I wasn't able to find anything. So how do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I know that's something I would have to consider and look at what, you know, figure out what we need to do to help do that. I'm definitely open to that. Uh, I think that I want to make sure in doing that that I can still have those productive times with our clients, with our new clients, with our hopeful clients, that we can, I still want to be able to do that detailed creative process for our clients and make sure that that is, still stays intact because that's really important to me. So that definitely,
Right.
I would definitely be open to that. And I would have to, I just want to make sure that I can
Yeah.
still
I know
have that.
you're still very hands-on. You're very hands-on. And a lot of construction business owners, they have really hard time delegating tasks and like letting go a little bit because, they're worried about losing that connection with the owner and, they want to be involved. But where do you see yourself scaling or trying to expand? I mean, is that something that you want to do, or do you want to just stay very just tiny, small, and very content with where you are right now?
Well, I have a business coach I'm working with right now, and we are in active discussions on that very thing about what's the best way to grow our business and where do we want to grow it in if we have that option. And so, yeah, I think that's definitely, something I'm definitely interested in. And we're actually currently talking about that on what's the best
Okay.
way to utilize. And it's the fun part. I do like the creative part, so I get to think of all this stuff as much as I can and try and meet my customers' demands, their needs, and
Mhm.
I do enjoy it. And so sometimes getting out in the field is a necessity because I want to make sure everything is right. And so I do jump in there and I do make sure and help out and give direction and all that to our guys as much as we
Right.
can.
Yeah, well, I can tell you care a lot about your business and about your customers and making sure that, they're very satisfied. So let's just move into this is something that would have to do with expanding or scaling, or, if you were going to actively, market yourself with online presence and, be able to be found on Google. Of course, your phone's going to ring more, you're going to have more business. So how do you approach like your training and maintaining your skilled, workforce? How does that look for you in your day-to-day operations?
We are in the process. I mean, I've had the fortunate to have I have two individuals that have been with me for a long time. A finisher, and I got two other guys that have been with me for a long time, and working on that, getting their skill set up, getting always increasing, thinking about what they're doing, thinking about all the steps and the through installation and the finish work and taking care of the details, having an eye for the details. And that's a continual thing. Um, and training within is really important. And we've had some success with some other vendors and stuff we've actually brought in to help us with some of our projects that have that attention to detail, and and we're looking to
Mhm.
expand that more. Talking with another person that has a really great team, and we're going to be hopefully doing more with them, and we'll see if it works out, and then we can start thinking about our scaling and being able to meet the the requirements and the needs for our clients there.
Right. So you do have a company that can help you with any type of recruitment challenges. I mean, do you think that there are people in that organization that you can bring on?
Yeah, and I mean, we have, again, this is just through just building our relationships, continuing to learning how to build our relationships with and finding great talent out there that we can team up with to help us through our requirements and our needs. And then we're definitely definitely in the last year I've been pursuing that, and we've had some good success with it. So yeah, definitely looking way that we can expand that more, get some partnerships together and helping us grow.
That's great. Well, that's good. Well, at least you're, and sometimes it takes baby steps, right? Like Rome wasn't built in a day. And, if you are going to grow, you want to do it right. So you take those little baby steps, and, make sure you have the right people in place. So where do you see, Creative Works heading, like, let's say from 1 to 3 years from now? I mean, what's your vision for the company?
Well, I mean, I would like to, you know, spend more time with our clients, and not so much the operational side of things. So I definitely would like to see myself get more into um, being able to just being with clients, being with customers. That's really what I think I would like to do more of. So getting the attention to detail and all the little getting everything just right. That's what I need to work on. So because I'm very very hands on. But yeah, that's so that would be what I'd like to do. And who knows? Hopefully, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and this is probably, you're probably going to give me the same answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So, because I always ask everybody, like, if you had a magic wand and you could just instantly improve like one aspect of the business or something that's slowing you down or, could work more efficiently, like, what's the one thing that would be?
I think operationally, finding ways to operationally meet.
Right. So it's the recruitment aspect and finding someone that's qualified, trustworthy, has the same vision. Because, yeah, I mean, these days, I mean, like there's not as many people going into the trades as there used to be. And so, we're trying to get back to that place. I mean, I know that, that's a lot of what my podcast and, what I kind of preach on LinkedIn is, maybe getting out to these kids in the younger generation that there is a lot of money to be made in the trades and not everybody has to go to college, but I know that there's a struggle for a lot of business owners. Well, you haven't had the best connection with me, Chris. You've kind of been going in and out and you're frozen right now. Great. Well, folks, we might have lost him. And if that is the case, it's very unfortunate, but he had a bad connection. So for those of you that are still listening, I mean, I'm going to give him a minute to come back on. But, if you need to get a hold of Chris, like I said, I mean, his website is creativeworks.biz. For those of you who are listening or want to connect more, learn about, his projects, really, that's the only way that I know of would be creativeworks.biz. I just think he has gone away and there he is again. So yeah, I just let it roll because I can cut all that out. I can edit that. Okay. Yeah, well, I was like, well, we haven't had the best connection the whole time, but it's been hanging along there. And yeah, so I just let it go. No, I was just saying that, it's okay. No, not at all. But no, I was just saying, I've been preaching a lot on LinkedIn and there's just a lot of people that I follow that, are trying to get to the younger generation to let them know that, the trades really need them. And it's really unfortunate that, that kids think or they, or their parents or, put them in this mindset that they have to go to college because not everybody has to go to college to make six figures. I mean, there's a lot of, opportunities out there to work in the trades or to own your own business. And so, with that being said, I mean, what do you want to say to the younger generation, or what do you want to say maybe to someone that's thinking about starting their own business, but they're afraid? What kind of advice would you give? Right, right. All right. Well, Chris, we're going to wrap it up. And, it's been really a fantastic conversation. And really enjoyed getting to know more about you. I see your passion and vision, for Creative Works. It's really inspiring. And I think you're, doing great work. And I'd love to see some of your projects someday. For those who are listening, or they might come across this podcast, they might want to get in touch with you. What is the best way for someone to contact you if they are listening to this and they do happen to live in Northern Virginia, and they have a special project where they need somebody that's really good with custom woodwork, or the telecom, like you talked about, these special audio and visual effects that you do? How would you want someone to get in touch with you? Well, that's a wrap, guys. And you heard it from Chris himself. If you're interested in getting in touch with him, just reach out. And we appreciate you listening to the podcast today. And we'll see you on the next episode.